What a beautiful morning to come together and make music. This is one of my favorite Sundays of the year. Music is such an important part of our worship service, but this morning we get to hear from all of our ensembles and immerse ourselves in music this whole morning together. We are very fortunate to have such lovely musicians that give their time and talent preparing music for us to worship at church together. The music they prepare inspires us and adds an important piece to our worship experience every week. I'm very grateful for all of them. Thank you. I'm very grateful that God created us and gave us music. It's inside all of us, and it's everywhere in our lives. We celebrate with music, we mourn with music, we're entertained by music, we put our children to sleep with music. We're surrounded by it, driving in our cars, shopping in movies, on TV. The library of music that's available to us in the palm of our hands at any given time. I have the perfect soundtrack ready to go no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with. I just turn it on, right? No more really CDs anymore, tuning the radios. Records, that used to be a thing, right? It's so wonderful to be connected with music all the time. We can't imagine a world without music in it. Clearly, it's a very important part of our human experience here. So naturally, we include music in our worship experience. But here, we are not just listening to the music, we're making the music together as a community of faith. We raise our voices together to worship God, to sing songs to remind us of what an amazing creator that we have, praising God for all that he's done. For me, it's a very moving experience, moving part of the worship, to feel the music flowing between all of us and being lifted up, connecting us with God, but also connecting us with each other. It's very powerful. And everyone up here is doing that same thing. Our ensembles, they're not performing for you or playing for you, but for God all together. I hope you're inspired by what you hear and moved by our ensembles and what they have to offer. And I pray that you know how important you are to our musical experience here, and that your voice is a very important one. I pray that you immerse yourself in the music making here that we do together at church, no matter what you think your ability may be. It is beautiful. It's truly beautiful to worship all together through music here. Thank you. Praise God.
Hi, good morning. As Mandy said, this is one of her favorites. It's actually one of mine, but my favorite is every time we make music. Whether it's performing, whether it's singing, whether it's just listening to it, it's a very exciting thing for me, and I want to share my story with you. And this could be anyone's story, anyone that's interested in music or anyone that's been inspired by music. I started music probably before birth. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for singing to me. So they created an environment for me that really shared their love of music, and Dad would sing some, I don't even know, silly, random songs, but he did a great job then, and I believe firmly that God planted those songs in his head and Mom's head so that I would be appreciative of music when I came into the world. When I was about 3, I visited my Grandma Marie. Her real name is Marie, but I couldn't say Marie, so I said Grandma Marie. And she had this piano, an upright spinet. And I would go to the piano and probably annoy everyone in the house, but I would create games on the piano. Chasing the notes up and down, feeling the volume, crescendo, decrescendo, all the fun excitement that gave to me. And I firmly believe that God planted the seed, or the music notes, so to speak, in my heart at that moment. I was very lucky to have wonderful teachers along the way because it's part of God's plan. God was writing a song for me. He was composing his plan. And along the way, I met some very fantastic teachers. One was Cheryl Brown. She was a piano organist here a while back. and she happened to live across the street from me. And at the age of 3, 4, my parents were really tired of me running up and down on the keyboard and making noise, so to speak, so they brought me across the street, where Cheryl, in her fun and exciting way, taught me how to read notes before I read letters. God knew what was coming. He was composing that score that would guide me through life. He began with the audio and the visual, the global language by which humans have used to communicate for thousands of years. And he picked me. Fast forward a little bit, and we go into the children's choir here at church. Now, I've been a member of the church since pretty much birth, so I was really excited to be able to join the children's choir. And I was very lucky and to have a fantastic choir director, Jeannie Manson. And in our choir, I was not only with her, but I was with all my friends, my sister. We were kind of an incorrigible bunch. We kind of tested the boundaries a bit, and we did test the banister there, and we slid down it quite often. So we didn't get caught, but we did try it every Sunday. Jeannie taught me the love of music and singing because we sang Bible stories. We sang songs about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We sang songs about Daniel and the lion den, and it was so exciting. I was learning the Bible through music. But as we know, God had that plan already set. So he put Jeannie in my path. Fast forward into middle school. We took a trip to visit my parents' friends in France, and we went to a chateau one day. They had a hunt, with the horns, the foxes, the horses, and the hounds. And they had this group of horn players on the steps of this castle. And I heard them play, and that was it. I came back to the States and told my band director, I'm not playing percussion anymore, I'm playing horn. God's kind of smiling at this point because he already knew what was coming. He knew that I needed to play and give a voice to this horn. He continued to lay down the music of his score, the nuances, the crescendos, the musical expression of phrasing, and my contribution as a performer became something important. I was creating music, or so I thought. I was just an extension of him. I was able to attend Blue Lake in Bavaria, where I met several musicians from Asia and America, and it taught me that music really does transcend the globalness of life. Of course, God knew what he was doing. God knew that I needed more from his music than simply just being a performer or listener. He decided that I should become a teacher. In this way, he knew I'd be able to share my love and gift of music with others. He knew the place, middle school. Oh boy, what an exciting time. What was I thinking? I was here to do high school marching band, I'm all set, ready to go, but no, he plopped me right in the middle school world. So a typical middle school day for me would be something like, I had a student who plays percussion, his name is Darius, and he was a 6th grader. And when I was teaching, I changed my maiden name to my married name, so I went from Vincent to Ginther. He was really trying. And he raised his hand to answer a question. He said, Mrs. Geezer, I have a question. And I'm like, what? So he was really a fun kid to work with. But that was my typical day. My typical day in middle school could be, Mrs. Ginther, your hair is so great. And then in 10 seconds later, another could be like, oh, your hair is just so awful. I cannot believe it. Welcome to puberty, people. So God knew what he was doing, and he placed me in this wonderful setting. Now, middle school kids sometimes get a bad rap. Lots of people don't think they can do things, but I know for sure that they can create wonderful music. Granted, they're not the most talented, they're not the most professional, but they can do it. And through him, I realized that that was my calling. He was putting in my path the score that he was creating for me. While I was there, I met a wonderful mentor, Paul Lippa. And he was a fantastic mentor. Just somebody that was a great musician, great mentor, great person. But what he did through God was he made me understand what music is and how to share it with others. God had that plan. He was sticking to it. So fast forward a little bit, and I went to college at Michigan State and joined the band and sang in the choir and also played in the orchestra one semester And it was scary because I'd never played an orchestra, because as we know in Huron Valley, there was no orchestra. So I was able to play an orchestra, and it gave me a purpose. I knew I wanted to teach. I knew that I wanted to share this gift with others. God set me on the conductor's podium so I could help others learn, interact, and create the love and the gift of music. I guess I thought I was blessed. I really was. But then God decided to write the third movement. His movement for my score was very dark and foreboding. It was very scary. It was very compassionate, but yet really, really dark, like an abyss. My job, I had a new administrator who didn't really support music. My marriage was falling apart. But then the big thing, hey, we're going to give you this chronic regional pain syndrome disease. Deal with it. And at that time, I believed in God, but I didn't believe in miracles for myself. I would say things like, God, help me get through this day, or why me? But God knew. God knew the plan. So in this dark, foreboding, and scary movement, he placed a thread, a pianissimo thread of music. Pianissimo means very soft. He sent that ray of light through the music, and I grabbed onto it. I didn't recognize it for what it was, but I grabbed onto it. So after he had me go through this third movement, it was very scary, and I stepped on the edge. I was very close. But through that little thread, he kept me grounded. Then it happened, the miracle that I didn't know I was going to receive ever. I didn't really think it would happen to me, honestly. But God was trying to get my attention. He literally crashed the cymbals, banged the gong, brought the eternal choir, the musicians, the angels, and everything to just bop me on the head. Wow. I was sitting here in choir. Rick was playing the organ. Marcus was conducting. And we were singing the hymn of the day. I don't remember which one, unfortunately, but we were singing. And all of a sudden, he hit me over the head. It stopped me in my tracks. I stopped breathing. I started crying, and I was like, what just happened? What's happening here? And what happened was he finally showed me that I was okay. He finally got my attention. And in that instant, everything lifted. All the darkness, all the third movement was gone. And now we're progressing into the next part of the score. As I was singing, I felt it. I felt the joy and wonder of God. I felt the love of the worship, love of the congregation, and I felt the love of the musicians around me. God knew what I wanted. I needed that big moment when the conductor is up like this. He gave it to me. And I realized that at that moment, I was experiencing calm, joy, and peacefulness that I had not really experienced ever, but music was the part of it. So I am very grateful and thankful for his presence that surrounds us daily, that walks with us, that is inside us. And every time you hear, sing, perform, or worship with music, you feel it too. I'm not the only one. And I'm very glad that he shares this with us. Every time I sing, I know he's in me. Every time I play my horn or piano, I know he's in me. Every time I'm in an ensemble, he's with me. And every time I come to church, he's here with me when I sing. I sing alto, and the reason why I sing alto is because it's a harmonious kind of thing. It's not the melody, it's the harmony. But on every hymn, since I was old enough to realize how to sing a hymn, in the middle, I sing the alto part, just as glory to God. And that's my gift to him. So, God's music is continuing. His score is not finished, but still being written for me along this path in life that we call a journey. God is great. Rejoice in him and give thanks. Music is his gift to you, for all mankind. Take it, enjoy it, listen to it, feel it, breathe it, and realize that God is there no matter what happens. Thank you.